It looks like I should be up. Hopefully, give me a second. Want to make sure everything's... All right. Can everyone hear me? Can everyone see me? Also, I'm hearing myself talk, so that's kind of a weird dissonance. Hello, everybody. Let me know if you can hear everything, if everything's good. I'm doing this. Sorry that there's like a weird double thing. Here we go. That'll be better. Give me just a second. This is the first time I've actually been using OBS to actually see everything. So give me a second if I'm just getting used to the new setup. Does everyone like the setup of everything? Love that title there. Yeah. Yes. So, for those of you who haven't caught on yet, what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be reading some of my old high school middle to high school Star Trek fan fiction. So this should be particularly fun. And so what you probably see on this side of the screen, I don't know where my finger is. I think it's on this. Yeah, that's the correct way. Yeah, we're going to be reading my fan fiction, which is right over there. I'm going to wait a little bit just to let some people in, and then I'll sort of talk about the series and how I got into this. But as you can see, that right there is the title of my fan fiction series, Star Trek Mirror Wars, and I will talk about that in a second. But let me just sort of catch up on the chat and say hello to everybody. Jonathan Moore, my roommate, LOL'd when he read the title out loud. When I read the title out loud, yeah. Star Trek Mirror Wars. It's a title. Yeah. I thought it was clever at the time. I actually made my email at the time, mirrorwars@yahoo.com, which I still think is my login for some random things. But yeah, my email for the longest time was mirrorwars@yahoo.com. So yeah, that was a thing that I really invested in. People are getting freaked out by the standee in the corner. That would be Jedsia Dax. My roommate, who is an absolute wonderful and amazing human, he actually got me that standee right after my surgery, which was last week Wednesday. So he went to a comic book store with his lovely boyfriend, and when I came out of surgery, he had a giant standee Dax for me, which was absolutely wonderful. It was very sweet. Jedsia has randomly scared me a few times. Since I've moved in, but or since she's moved in, but it's absolutely wonderful. The Wancho, hopefully I'm saying your name right. Hi Jesse, it's my son's birthday. Happy birthday to your son. I hope he is doing well. Yes. I hope everyone also, I should say, I hope everyone is doing well right now with all the craziness going on in the world at the moment. I know it's a particularly stressful time for so many people. Sorry, I'm just keep getting distracted by my own video feed over here in the corner, so I'm gonna hide that from myself so I don't keep getting distracted by that. But yeah, it's kind of a crazy time right now to be alive. So I hope everyone's taking care of themselves, that everyone's self-isolating as they can, because it's important for us to do that. It's not just for my own safety or your own safety, but for the safety of people that we care about. I have many people in my life who are immune deficient and older and things like that, so I don't want anyone to get hurt. So really, it's not just for yourself, it's for everyone. All right, I'm just going through the chat, seeing how everyone else is doing. This sounds way too much like that arc in Enterprise. I love it. My particular story, my fan fiction, is a bit different from the Enterprise one. We'll see. So I'll start giving some background so people can talk here, and also Dash Fat Bastard. Let's get down the Enterprise O. So you've taken a look at the fan fiction. So my fan fiction here is something that I wrote way back in the good old days of, at least looking at this site right here. It says right here, since 2006 is when I made this site. I think I was doing it pop-ups on my own site. I made this site a little bit before then, or started writing this fan fiction. So since 2005, so I would have been at the time 13 or 14 years old when I started writing this fan fiction. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I actually have not read. I went back before I decided to do this, and was trying to look to see if there's any like really terrible things that like offensively terrible. I mean, I was a 13, 14-year-old like angsty teen, as Wellington Smith puts it in there in the comments. So I'm sure there's a lot of I'm sure there's some stuff in there that's like horrible and awful. So I just want to make sure I didn't like put anything like stupid or offensive or anything in there. But I haven't actually read all the way through what I'm going to be reading. I'm going to be reading the first episode, maybe the first two, depending on how fast we get through it. Also, I should say, I have going on right here some music in the background, some Star Trek Online theme music, which I hope is to everyone's taste. Does everyone like the music? Should I turn it off? Do you want me to leave it on? Let me know. So yeah, just let's see what else should I say to sort of preface this fan fiction? Well, I should say it is definitely darker than most Star Trek. I was definitely in my like angsty, like everything's brooding and everything's dark and awful sort of stuff going on in it. I was very much a Battlestar Galactica fan, so this is very much into that. I mean, clearly you could tell just by the website that this is a bit of a darker fan fiction. Hello, Wendizzle Bizzle. I absolutely love your name. That is absolutely fantastic. Good. I'm glad that the music is quiet but pleasant. Let me know at any point if the music gets too overbearing or loud or anything, that we can stop that. I can turn it down or anything like that. All right, so let's jump into my fan fiction, and then afterwards, once I finish reading fan fiction, we'll do it for like half an hour, 45 minutes or so. We'll have some fun. We'll make fun of it, and then we will just do a little hangout. I'll answer some questions. I'll hang out with you guys in the chat, and we'll just have some fun discussions. Maybe some discussions about what I put in the fan fiction. I can also talk about stuff that happens, because I wrote 2 full seasons of this fan fiction, so there's a lot of it out there. If any of you wish to follow along with the story, I think I put the link to the first episode down in the down below there. But if it's not there, or if it's not working, the website is stmirrorwars@tripod.com. Yes, a very, very old tripod site. I'm still surprised that it's up and running. So stmirrorwars@tripod.com if you want to follow along with me. Okay. So let's jump into this. So first things I got to do is I got to talk about the site design. So, yeah, this is my homepage for writing 2 full seasons of fanfic, and that's dedication to craft. Katrina Jones, by the way, I didn't actually finish this story. We'll talk about it in a second. I had a whole 5-season arc for this planned out, and I did not finish it. Keep in mind, this is after Star Trek Enterprise ended, so I really had nothing. The biggest, I was really into fan fiction at the time. There was Star Trek Dragon was a good fan fiction that I loved. Star Trek Hidden Frontier was a great fan film series that I adored. If anyone remembers Hidden Frontier, everyone talks about Star Trek Continues and things like that. Anyways, let's get into what we're actually here for. You don't want to hear me rant about stuff. You want to hear me read my fan fiction. All right, so as you can see here, this is my site. Look at all those ads, those lovely, lovely ads down there. 4,905 people have visited this site since 2006. So look at that. I've got some fans. And And I believe this photo here is actually from a movie called The Darkness. I know Wellington Smith, you're saying, it reminds you of a Dark Shadow show. I think this is from the movie called The Darkness that I just sort of grabbed from. And also, yeah, there's more ads up here. So if anyone wants to do the Worldwide Lotto, it's there for you. Okay. Let me just move something. There we go. Cool. All right. So let's pop in here. And then this is going to get where it gets fun. More pop-up ads. Look at those pop-up ads. So yeah, this was my lovely site design. This was me. I actually designed this site myself. Look and give me feedback at mirrorwars@yahoo.com. Oh my God, there's so many pop-ups that keep coming up. I'm sorry. Let's see how many are hidden. Nope, no hidden behind it. But yeah, there's a lot of pop-ups going on. Yeah, this was me trying to do like an LCARS system design. Also, like, look at my lovely titles. Acta Sanctorum. It's like a Harry Potter episode. It's like, look, I'm using Latin. I'm so great. Let's see. And also, you can get my dead name, by the way. It was James Earl, not Jesse. So that's my dead name going on there. I need feedback really badly. Someone give me feedback. I love writing Mirror Wars, and I hope you love reading it. Although I love to write it, I can't get better without feedback. I would like to know what people think of my work. I know it's far from perfect and want people's opinion. Even then, I was very much like, please give me some feedback. Yeah, I love how, oh my God, so many pop-ups. Dear Lord. Yeah, so I even had a newsletter, evidently. I don't even know what that is. Podcast. Oh yeah, oh God. Did you see the podcast on here or did you find it yourself, Dash Fat Bastard? There is a podcast that exists of me reading the episodes of this back when I was 14, 15-year-olds. I think I have it on my computer, so maybe I can find it and see if we can play some of it at the end here and hear my prepubescent or pubescent voice. It'll be a little bit dysphoric, but it'll be kind of fun. Yeah, I know I need to get ad block, Katrina. All right, so let's jump into this. All right, episode, more pop-ups. I do need to get ad blocker. All right, so season 1. Oh my God, every time I click, there's another pop-up. Stop. Oh, that's gonna drive me crazy. All right. Oh my gosh. All right, well, let's just not click anything. All right, season 1. Darkness and depression rules as the Federation is drawn into a war that may not only destroy one universe, but 2. Bum, bum, bum! Traitors lurk in the dark. Plans go horribly wrong. A dark secret within the Federation starts to surface, and one crew member may not survive at all. Only one, though. Not all of them. I'm not going to kill all of them. Only one crew member may not survive. You know what? Everyone's complaining about how dark and dreary the Star Trek has gotten, how it didn't show the utopia. I was doing it first, all right? So Alex Kurtzman stole from me. If anyone's gonna say anything, let's go fight Alex Kurtzman and say, he found my old fan fiction and stole it from me. Oh boy. Okay. I mean, honestly, considering that they did use the mirror universe in the first episode of first season of Disco. Sorry, mild spoilers. Apologies. I am surprised that they did that. All right. So let's take a look real quick. Look at my awesome early 2000s logo stuff. Season 1. It's got the bright thing going on here. I promise I will get to actually reading it. But it's just kind of fun to just make fun of these things. So Jordy Griffin, I didn't know you have your old website. I don't have it. It's still up. I don't know how or why, but this website's still up. You can go find it right now. So let's just look at some of the titles. The Mirror Shattered, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. And then we got Approaching Dawn, which, that's a solid title. Seeing in the Dark. Actually, that's not all that bad. Admiral Decker. I forgot. I think I had Decker be a character in this, like a great-grandchild. This takes place in the 27th century, by the way. Hey, do you have a Twitter? I do, at Jesse Gender. So go check that out. Alternate Invasion, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. Her Flags Unfurled. Boldly Going On, and Betrayer of the Light. Oh my gosh, if you need a more, like, yeah, I'm cool. Betrayer of the Light is the best title I have ever come up with. I don't think I'm ever going to do better than that. I should stop writing right now. Oh, I think this season had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 episodes. And let's go back real quick. Season 2 has 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 episodes and a coming soon. Because I stopped. So there's not a ton in season 2, but it is there. Oh my gosh, pop-ups! I hate you. I hate you with all my life. All right, let's go back to season 1. Pop-ups galore. Okay, so let's jump in to the first episode of Star Trek Mirror Wars. Let's see. Okay, so the first things first, I love how the title is obscured by the ad. So you really get a good sense there of what's important. Jonathan Moore, Kurtzman totally stole my uniform ideas. I created dark blue uniforms with metallic accents of the Division several years ago for a Trek RPG I play. Oh no, I would love to see it. You should share because that sounds really cool. Okay. So let's start reading this. Star Trek Mirror Wars. Episode 101, The Mirror Shattered, Part 1. Written by James Earl. Again, dead name. My name at the time of writing this was James Earl. Prologue, Earth date, September 10th, 2602, 0800 hours. Sorry, apologies. I know I took so long to get to the actual reading of the thing, but my website was too fun to not make fun of. All right. The NCC 1829 USS Enterprise O was dead. So first sentence. I've already gotten the registry number of the Enterprise wrong. Yeah, I didn't care about canon then. In terms of the specifics, I don't care about it as much now. I would have gotten that right, but I know already, I know there's certain fans out there who's like, this isn't my Star Trek. Already screwed it up. All right. Let's keep going. One of its 2 warp nacelles was torn almost off and was only staying connected by a handful of wire and what remained of the hull. Life support had failed on all decks except for the bridge. Bodies were floating in space. I'm not even a paragraph in, and I've already got bodies floating in space. I was such a Battlestar Galactica first person at this time. Seconds before the people who once inhabited those bodies, like their frickin' like souls are gone now, I guess, breathed their last breath, they thought of home, their wives, their children, their family. Because apparently they're all dudes or lesbians. They don't have any husbands. It's just their wives and their children and their family. So yeah, again, centering dude thought, because I was definitely, definitely a bit focused on, that sort of thought. I mean, we're trying to think of men as the center of writing. So I find it funny that I don't include any husbands. It's all just dead guys and lesbians on there. And Amanda, I appreciate your over enthusiasm. I understand it's been a crap week for all of us. So please, I'm enjoying it. I had some wine ready out front, but I decided not to drink on camera. But I did have some wine to drink along with this. Maybe I'll go get it in a little bit. All right, I should actually get to reading. None of which they would see again. Captain Aaron J. Riker looked around at his crew, or what was left of it. According to the still working onboard sensors, every member of the crew, except the crew on the bridge, was dead. Report, Mr. Quint. I don't know why my Riker sounds like Picard, but that's what you're going to have to deal with now. Obeska Quint stood up from the ground where he had fallen. A jagged piece of metal was sticking out of his left arm. Oh this is so dark of a start. Fortunately for Fortunately for him, his race, Utars, sure, could remove all pain that they felt from any part of their body. Yeah, very lucky. He looked over his console. Weapons and shields are offline. Impulse engines are dead. There is no power left except on the bridge. Life support is failing on this deck. No other areas have life support. Glad I'm reiterating this for you. Let's see. What about communications? Functioning, but there is no power left. Quint, if we take all the power from the remaining life support, will there be enough power to send a message to the nearest starbase? Yes, sir, but that would mean... I know. Do it. So I'm murdering my whole bridge crew. Right up top. Oh my gosh, it starts so dark. I was so angsty. Quint stared as Riker and then at his console. Some mistakes there. He knew that he was about to kill himself, Riker, and any of the remaining living crew that were unconscious around him. He hesitated, as I would too, and he pressed the button to end those lives. Only a few thousand miles away, the NCC 118... Did I reuse the same ship? Oh, no, the ISS. Okay, I forgot my own freaking point. Only a few thousand miles away, the NCC 1829 ISS Enterprise O was at full power. Life support was fine on all decks. Shields were at 45% and weapons were at full power. Captain Aaron J. Riker was laughing at how easily he had won. Mr. Quint, how many more Ilium torpedoes would it take to completely destroy everything about that ship? Exactly 3 more, sir. Exactly 3. Good. Arm then and fire on my mark. Ensign Render. His name is Ensign Render. I couldn't come up with a name, so I was just like, he's rendering. Ensign Render, prepare a communication with the Emperor. Render, the greatest and fastest communications officer Riker ever saw, prepared the message. There's your Lieutenant Mary Sue right there. Hailing now, sir. The screen in front of the bridge changed from the view of the Enterprise to a black room. Nothing could be seen except for the silhouette of a dark figure. I'm bringing in Star Wars in here, so this is really just presaging Alex Kurtzman and J.J. Abrams. What is it, Captain Riker? I hope your mission went well. Why is my Emperor like a sexy, what is it, Captain Riker? I'm the Emperor. I hope your mission went well. It's the voice I'm using? That's the voice I'm using for the Emperor now. Not the what is it, Captain Riker? I hope your mission went well. Anyways. Yes, Almighty One. We are about to destroy the ship. We did not expect any ships to be in this area, but we dealt with it. The fleet may move through. Good. Prepare for the fleet. ISS Striker out. Oh, the names of this. The screen changed from the frightening dark room to the Enterprise again. Quint. Fire. Firing. The screen, I'm assuming I meant on the screen, but the screen, 3 torpedoes streaked through space. But before they hit their target, Render spoke. Sir, they are sending out a message. On the screen, the image of the torpedoes was replaced by a huge explosion that in the vacuum of space was soon gone, along with the Enterprise. They sent a message. Part 1, Earth date June 18th, 2601, 0900 hours. Is that before? Yeah, it's actually this is actually beforehand. So I jump back in time that I hope you catch on at this point. Also June 18th is my birthday, so I set this on my birthday for some reason. You cannot possible go through with this plan, Great One. The Emperor of the Terran Empire looked over at the Andorian who had addressed him. Be careful what you say, he said. It is not something to take lightly, disagreeing with the Emperor. But it is a suicidal plan. We already control most of the known universe, and the areas which we don't control are being taken care of. The Empire is all-controlling. I am glad to hear you say that. But the Terran thirst for power can never be quenched. We will control everything. quite... Wow, this dude is just straight up evil. You cannot do this. I warn you, do not argue with me. Warning him again. The Emperor is Palpatine. Just go with it. I know, or Nadi, I hope I'm saying your name right. Apologies. Palpatine's here because that's, excuse me. Ooh. Because that's what's happening. I will. People of the Terran Empire. The Andorian known as Tran Ku stood up and addressed the leaders of each planet in the entire empire. So, presumably, I didn't say this in any way, shape, or form, but presumably we're in, like, the Terran Empire's, like, Galactic Senate. This is just Star Wars. But I didn't let you know where we are. We're here. Needless to say, to the Emperor's delight, it was a big room. The Emperor is throwing away lives needlessly. You cannot allow... As the Andorian spoke, the Emperor sat down in his throne and looked towards his chief guard, a Vulcan named Sonar, and gave a nod. Seconds later, a knife came flying out of Sonar's hand, and with Vulcan-like precision, it struck Tran Ku right in the throat. Oh, just Star Trek Picard, right? Like doing Star Trek Picard level violence right up front. It took only 2 seconds for the Andorian to die. Whew, that was quick. The Emperor stood up and casually walked over to the corpse of Tran Ku. Too bad, I rather liked him. He turned towards the remaining room occupants. Will there be anyone else who does not like my plan? No one said anything. Oh, that escalated quickly. I love it. Yes, Mirror Universe Zot. I am Alex Kurtzman. We are Alex Kurtzman. Seen through the clever ruse. Let's see. Part 2. Earth date July 14th, 2602, 1400 hours. Good afternoon, Admiral William. How are the plans going? Admiral William stood in the throne room, the Emperor. That's a sentence. He was the Emperor's direct military consultant. It was his job to update the Emperor on anything new going on in the fleet. All is on schedule. If all goes according to plan, we'll be ready to begin the operation within the next few months. Good, Admiral. I will want you to command the initial attack fleet. The Admiral was surprised and honored. For the greatest man in the universe to select you to lead a mission, any mission, and one of this import, was the highest honor he could receive. Me, there are higher-ranking officers, more qualified. But I don't know them. You, I know. You, I know, won't disappoint me. Have a wonderful day, Admiral. Well, the Emperor's just like, have a nice day. I hope you're doing well. As the Admiral walked out of the room, surprised, curious, fearful, and confused, all of the adjectives, he wondered, what have I gotten myself into? Part 3, Earth date September 10th, 2602, 0500 hours. Oh, I really hope I didn't set this up to be like a September 11th thing. Wow, I'm really just hitting things on the nose. Captain Riker, you are ready to commence the plan. Admiral William and Captain Riker stood in the conference room aboard the Enterprise. It was not a question. Yes, sir. Then, please, tell me what it is. I just tell me what the plan is. I don't know what the plan is. How is your granny? Did she get that kidney yesterday? Sorry, I'm reading comments. Okay. The Striker, the Warrior, and the Destroyer will create the rift that will bring us to Universe 2B. So apparently our universe, the Prime Universe, is Universe 2B. I will fly the Enterprise through the rift and appear in the same spot in the other universe. And then... I should change up the voices. I will destroy all enemy ships and stop any attempt to close the rift. After I deal with any resistance, I will signal the fleet to come through the rift. Good. We will begin the operation soon. Do your job well, soldier. The Emperor himself will be watching your progress. Riker saluted. Yes, sir! He was proud to do his duty. So, basically, what I'm assuming here is going on, if in case you haven't followed the plot so far, Admiral William, who I assume is going to be William Decker, is like the first in command of this Mirror Universe fleet, and then Captain Riker, the Mirror Universe Captain Riker, who's like the great grandchild of our Riker, is leading the Enterprise and is like the first to go through. So I think that's what's happening here. Earth date, September 10th, 2602, 0530 hours. Captain Riker got off the turbolift. Coffee, sir? Said Yeoman Malyar? Regale you? Coffee, sir, said Yeoman Malyar, regale you. Bringing back Yeomans in the 27th century, apparently. Don't trust the bee in Universe 2B. Yes, I will. Thank you. I will coffee? Riker took the cup of coffee from Malyar. He could have gotten the coffee from his command chair replicator, but he had learned long ago at the Enterprise christening party that Malyar made one heck of a good coffee. He took a sip. Ah, good coffee today. Today must be special. Thank you, sir, and it is my birthday. Well then, happy birthday. I hope this is our universe. I don't know. Is this the good universe or the bad universe? I feel like I'm jumping back and forth and not entirely sure. Riker sat down. See you later, Captain. She walked into the matter transporter. Deck set. Captain, a ship is appearing from nowhere? Where? It's appearing from nowhere. Why would you ask where is it appearing from? Port, it's charging weapons. Raise shield. But it was too late. 6 red beams of light shot out from the ISS Enterprise O, and the first thing Riker thought was, I guess that surprise birthday party will have to wait. Aw, the good Riker remembered her birthday. Isn't that sweet? Too bad he's gonna die. Horribly. Part 5, Earth date, September 10th, 2602. I'm glad that this is happening on September 10th because, putting it on September 11th, this big, surprise terrorist attack, would have been too on the nose. So it's got to be September 10th. Oh, man. I was so smart. Admiral William loved his starbase. As he sat in his command chair in the operations center, he sipped his coffee and stared into the view screen. Today was a good day to dream, or so he thought. Sure. Admiral, we are receiving a Priority 1 message from the Enterprise? I thought the Enterprise was specimen gathering I thought the Enterprise was a specimen gathering mission on Tragar 4. So the Enterprise is a specimen gathering mission. It is. Want me to patch it through? Please, on the main screen. I assume this is our universe again here. The Admiral's old friend, Captain Riker, was on the screen. We have no power. Most of the crew, dead, using last of life support to send this message. We were attacked by a ship identical to the Enterprise. Exactly identical. I have to read this over like my crappy web design. Took us by surprise. Not enough time to raise shields. Came out of nowhere. Then, to the Admiral's dismay, an explosion appeared on the screen. Captain Riker screamed. Then the screen turned black. The Admiral sat there for a second. Just a second. For Admirals cannot hesitate in times of need. Ensign Weber, contact Starfleet HQ at Earth. Tell them we have a problem. Relay this message to them and request backup. He thought about it for a moment. A lot of backup. And that is the end of episode 1. All right. How much time? We've been going for 30 minutes. Well, let's go to, the episode's Mirror Universe, Zot. The episodes were very, very short. I mean, I got lazy is really what it was. I just didn't want to write long things because I'm lazy back then. Okay. So we're going to jump into, we'll get a lot of backup. It's going to be fun. I don't know if I have anyone say today's going to be a good day to die. All right. Let's go into the next one because I think the next one's a little bit more interesting because it builds out my universe. So let's just do the second one. We'll see if we have time to do the third and final part of the pilot episode. But everyone enjoying themselves? Everyone having some fun? Hope we're doing having a good time. Okay. All right. Part 1, September 10th, 2602, 0830 hours. Admiral William Decker wanted to kill himself. I love how I start off these episodes just really freaking dark. We should have. You know what? Here, if anyone can indulge me for 2 seconds, I'm gonna go get some wine to do this. So give me 2 seconds. Don't go away. I'll be right back with some wine. All right, no one went crazy. All right. So I got a glass of wine here. So I could turn it into into a drinking game if people want. Let's drink every time that I say something incredibly depressing and angsty. So starting right off, Admiral Decker wanted to kill himself. This is in terms of wine, it's a chocolate red wine. It's actually very, very, I really love it. It's got a sort of a dark chocolate hint to it. So it's kind of nice because I have to have sweet things. Yeah, I might die if I keep drinking it. If I drink every time I say a dark thing. All right, Admiral William Decker wanted to kill himself. He had fought against the Borg, the Ulars, and what remained of the Romulan Empire, if you could still call it an empire when it contained only a few planets, and he had never wanted to back down. Oh my god. I wrote this in 2006. This is 3 years before Star Trek 2009 when we know Romulus got blown up. I predicted... You know what? They did read my fan fiction. Looking back at this, they so totally read my fan fiction. I even blew up Romulus, or destroyed the Romulan Empire. Within my fan fiction. So you know what? I gotta go after Kurtzman here. This is just a joke, obviously. It's just fun for fun. See, I did it all. I predicted it all. Let's see. So this was 2006, before 2009. This is really just Star Trek Picard. All right. He remained of the Empire, but now he faced his most deadly enemy, the President of the Federation. Whoo! Getting in some politics up in here. Let's see some 2006 young Jesse politics writing. Even when I was younger, I was way more interested in the politics of the Federation than the actual exploration. William was sitting in the main briefing room at Starfleet headquarters waiting for Admiral Klug, a respectable Klingon. Yes, the respectable Klingons. Wow, I'm racist towards Klingons in my own work back then. And the highest ranking officer in Starfleet. So the highest ranking officer in Starfleet is Klingon. So I'm being progressive. To come in and start the meeting. He had been waiting for about 10 minutes, and he had already wanted to jump across the table and strangle the president. Whew, wow, this is definitely some Battlestar Galactica stuff. Some military versus president stuff. Oh yeah, I gotta drink. A Klingon named a Klingon. Sorry, I've only had 2 sips and I'm already making myself laugh too hard. Okay. I hope this meeting will start soon. I have more important things to do, you know. I am the president. I'm not entirely sure who's talking whenever I start a thing, so I don't do a voice. The president, by the way, I think I'll say this in a second. The president's a Ferengi, so I'll just use a stereotypical Ferengi voice, because why not? I hope this meeting will start soon. I have more important things to do, you know. I am the president. I have a federation to run. I think that Starfleet would know better than to keep me waiting. Just then, to Admiral William's joy, Admiral Klug entered the room. What else do you do, Mr. President? Most of the time you sit around your office and do nothing. So, yeah, I was already being like, screw the government, you do nothing, you fat cats. Wow, was I a Republican? No, I was definitely a Democrat when I was a kid. I was very much screaming liberal, even in my high school, because I was my high school is the most conservative thing ever, but dang, do I have some conservative leanings in my writing. That's kind of fun. Anyways, are you putting politics into my Star Trek? How dare you? Anyways, I should keep going. The president stood up and held his fist at Klug. How dare you address the president like that? I deserve more respect from you. Sit down, Mr. President. We have more important matters to discuss, said William. Slowly but surly, not surely, slowly but surly, the president sat down. How that man ever won the election, I will never know, thought William. Klug stood at the front of the room. Right. Klingon voice. Actually, I think now that I think about it, considering that I haven't even mentioned it yet, but considering that the president is a Ferengi, I think maybe I'm like having some weird like capitalism president commentary going on here. So maybe it is very progressive left. I don't want any politics in my military war shooter video games. All right, I'm gonna keep reading. Sorry, keep getting distracted. Apologies, guys. Where was I? Slowly but surely, the president sat down. How that man ever won the election, I will never know, thought William. Klug stood at the front of the room. Right. Now that we are all settled, I have some very important and dreadful news. Earlier today, we received this message at one of our star bases from the USS Enterprise. Ah, yes. Doesn't Ex-Admiral Riker's son command the Enterprise? Yes, he did. Here, let me play the video for you. And they all watched as the last moments of one of the most decorated captains in Starfleet met his final end. Because, it's a final end, not the other type of ends. Dear God, who did this? Said William. He mentioned a ship identical to the Enterprise, but how is that so? The Enterprise is one of a kind. No other ships were made in the same class. We also know that back in the 23rd and 24th centuries, Starfleet, specifically the Enterprise in the 23rd and Deep Space Nine in the 24th, this is me giving you some canon stuff, made contact with a universe that they called the Mirror Universe. When the Enterprise first made contact with this universe, they learned of an empire equal in strength to the Federation. They eventually crossed over, but not with an experience they never forgot. So they didn't have an experience that they wouldn't forget. They learned that this universe was a cruel place. So let me just give you my just like my like canon info dump right there. The room was silent. Even for once, the president was silent. On Deep Space Nine, they learned that the Empire was overthrown by a Klingon-Cardassian alliance. Eventually, they helped inspire a rebellion that overthrew the alliance. After that, all contact with the Mirror Universe was lost. This, my friends, may be that universe. I'm glad that we're getting right into that discussion right up top. And if it is, then they have a force equal in strength to ours. Like, what are you basing that on? Like, it's just like a lot of suppositions. Like, yeah, it's the Mirror Universe. We totally think it's them, and they probably have exactly strength to ours. We detected an interdimensional rift near where the Enterprise was destroyed. We are amassing an armada in between the coordinates of the rift and Earth. We detected ships heading towards Sector 001 a few hours ago, coming at Warp 17. Again, breaking canon here. Coming at Warp 17, which is not possible, considering Star Trek canon. We can only assume that their motives are war. I assume that, I love it, it's like, yeah, I love how it's just like their motives are war. That's why I'm drinking Wellington Smith Warp 17, drinking. Well, you know what the rules of acquisition say about war, said the Ferengi president of the Well, you know what the rules of acquisition say about war, said the Ferengi president of the Federation, Zut. It is very good for business. Wow, okay, wow. Actually, yeah, no, making the Ferengi, the president of Ferengi and being like a war profiteer. Wow, I did have some like actual politics in all of this. Federation, the Federation Zut. Yep, couldn't think of a better Ferengi name than Zut. All right. Part 2, September 10th, 2602, 10:45 hours. Let's see. Admiral William Decker walked up to the transporter platform. I am ready to be beamed, Ensign. Yes, sir, said the young ensign at the transporter console. Transporters were so advanced nowadays that people did not need to operate them, but people feel more secure when they know another person was at the helm and therefore the ensign. Wow, even I predicted like self-checkouts. Look at me. Oh, I'm just brilliant, aren't I? I'm sorry. I've only had 3 sips of this and I'm already like laughing at myself. All right. 1 to beam from San Francisco Earth to UCAD Andoria. So we're like beaming to different planets here. Decker, wherever I heard that name before, Captain Riker. Decker loved the feeling of the transporter, but as his atoms were being transported millions of miles to Andoria, he contemplated on the reason for his journey, and how he hated to be the bearer of bad news. But it couldn't be helped. Someone had to tell the man, and since he was the closest person to Ex-Admiral Riker, it was his duty to tell the wonderful man that his smart and dear son was dead. As Decker dematerialized in UCAD, he tried to remember where Riker lived. Glad you went all the way to Andoria and forgot where your friend lived. Then, as if by magic, he remembered and stepped off the platform. Why did I even bother saying he didn't know where he lived? He just, as if by magic, remembered. Oh, I'm a brilliant writer. He hid his comm badge. Decker to Ensign Reiki. I'm assuming that was Ricky, but I like Reiki. Decker to Ensign Reiki. Thanks for the transport. Didn't I say his name was something different earlier? No, it was, I didn't say his name, so Ensign Reiki. Okay. No problem, sir. Hope to see you back at Starfleet HQ soon. Reiki out. I love you, Reiki. Decker chuckled. He liked Reiki. Me too. And had even invited him to poker night one time. Decker knew that Reiki would rise through the ranks like a wildfire in a dry forest. That's a simile. Right? Decker knew that Reiki would rise through the ranks like a wildfire in a dry forest. I'm drinking at that one. Whew. I swear if this... I'm sorry, I'm dying. Oh boy. I'm getting such a kick out of reading this. Before Decker knew it, he was outside Riker's apartment. I was bad at names. I'll lick Reiki. Wellington. Oh, Wellington. Oh, that's wonderful. He liked Reiki. I already said that. Before Decker knew it, he was outside Riker's apartment. He knocked on the door and waited. A few seconds later, the door opened. Riker stood in the doorway of his apartment. Decker, it is good to see you again. How long has it been? A year? Too long, my good friend. Nice to see you too, sir. Don't call me sir. I retired a few months ago. Again, the Star Trek Picard. We're visiting a retired Riker. I totally predicted all of it. Right here. You see it. You've seen it. Okay. Don't call me sir. I retired a few months ago. You know that. Anyways, it's rude to leave a guest out on the mat. Come in. Have some Andorian ale with me. Yeah, just get wasted. Well, I didn't come to visit, though Lord knows I should have long ago. But I am here on a more important errand. I have bad news about your son. Wow. I also killed the Riker son. Wow. Maybe Star Trek Picard did steal all my stuff. Murdering Riker's kid. Sorry, I'm some Star Trek Picard spoilers. My apologies, guys. I should have given a bit of a warning there. Oh, yep, drink. Tell me if I'm not reading fast enough for you guys. I'm making fun of it as I go, but if you want me to just read and enjoy yourself, let me know. So if my pausing and stopping every once in a while is too much, let me know. Let's see. My son, please come in. Sit down. Decker went into the room and sat in his usual chair across from the TVs. He was always fond of TV and was always curious how Riker got a TV. They hadn't been in use for a few centuries, but here one was, in perfect condition. It wasn't used, of course. There were two TV signals anymore, but it added a nice touch to the room. I'm assuming I meant no TV signals. Tell me about my son. Decker leaned forward. Sir, I regret to inform you. Riker interrupted. Don't tell me. He is dead, isn't he? How did you know? You had that look on your face of true sadness and regret. I know what that face looks like because I, unfortunately, had to use many times. This dark moment, and I'm laughing at the sentence structure. Please, tell me, how did he die? Decker leaned back. We don't know for sure. Do you know the history of the place called the Mirror Universe? Yes, I do. I remember from the Academy. A universe almost parallel to ours. We made contact in the 23rd and 25th, was it? No, 23rd and 24th centuries. I love how he's just like getting into I love he's like getting into like specifics after being told that his kid is dead. Do you mean to tell me that the Mirror Universe attacked my son's ship? All these suppositions. It was attacked by a ship by surprise that was exactly like the USS Enterprise. Decker began to explain what had happened and about Riker's son's last message. All the while, he noticed that Riker's hand that was holding a bottle of Andorian ale was clenched in fury. Decker was worried that the bottle might break in Riker's grip, but Andorian glass was much tougher stuff than Earth's. Sorry, I'm just reading some of the comments in the commentary. Decker, I would love to talk to you, but I think I need some time to myself right now. Of course, sir. If you need anything at all, contact me at Starfleet HQ. I will be there. As Decker stepped out of the building and walked the few blocks to the transporter and travel building, he couldn't help but wonder what wicked twist that this day might have left in store for him. What wicked twist that this day might have left in store for him. That not foreshadowing at all. Not at all. Part 3, September 11th, 2602, 0330 hours. So I guess I am getting to September 11th. Because I gotta be right on the nose. We are amassing a fleet here at Wolf 359 that, once all the ships have arrived, travel at Warp 13 to the Greatest System, which, as we guess by the last reported trajectory of the enemy fleet, is where the enemy fleet will have to stop due to the stress on the hull from traveling at Warp 17 for so long. Say that sentence 5 times fast, said Klug. Decker was back in the Starfleet briefing room where, less than a day ago, he had learned the fate of Captain Riker. He had hoped that this meeting would fare better. The Klingon ships will deploy here, to the right, while Starfleet ships will deploy in the middle, with Dominion forces on the left making somewhat of a blockade to stop the enemy from advancing. Apparently the Dominion is part of the Federation now, or at least allied with them. Let's see. As Decker listened to plan, he thought of how curious it was that even though the Klingon Empire had joined the Federation 30 years ago, no more than 28 Klingon, including Klug, had joined Starfleet. Klug had been the first Klingon in Starfleet in the Alliance, though not the first Klingon in Starfleet ever. Decker couldn't remember who the first was, though. Look at me! I'm making a reference to Worf. It's Worf. As he thought about the question, he heard a door open behind him. I'm glad Decker's just like kind of daydreaming during like a war briefing. He's like, yeah, I wonder who the first Klingon in Starfleet was. Oh yeah, I guess there's a war on. Klug saw who it was first, but Decker couldn't even look. Ah, Ex-Admiral Riker. How good to see you. Good to see you too, Klug. But I am not an ex-admiral anymore. I have come out of retirement. I want to help you with this operation. Decker whirled around to look at Riker. Hello, Decker. Hello, sir. I see you are helping with this operation too. Good. We need all the great men we can get. Though Decker liked the compliment, he could help feeling that something was wrong. So he could help feeling it. At the end of the meeting, he left quickly, before Riker could talk to him, and headed straight for his officer. Which officer? Yeah, so, like, there's, like, clearly a confrontation I'm setting up here, but he's, like, not directly addressing Riker with it. It's like, yeah, I don't want you're too connected to this mission. He's just like, nah, I'm gonna go speak to my superior. I'm not gonna talk to you directly, even though you're my friend. Look at me setting up my character conflicts well. Part 4, September 11, 2602, 0430. But, sir, I do realize that his a great tactician and great under pressure, but his emotions might get in the way. Decker said to Admiral Chul on the head on of the heads admirals at Starfleet, higher in rank than Admiral Decker, but lesser in rank than Klug. I would hope so, considering Klug is the highest ranking officer in all of Starfleet. As soon as Decker got to his officer, he turned on his holographic projector to speak with T'Chul face to face, even though she was a few solar systems away on her home planet, Falcon. Home planet Falcon. I created a planet called Falcon. Also, again, holographic projections, which Star Trek Discovery stole from me. Anyways. Oh my gosh. This is a true joy. All right. Where was I? I do not this so. That's another sentence. I do not this so, she said as she looked at him with her green eyes that all of her people had. I think that his emotional involvement makes him the perfect man for the job. But, sir, he can't lead the attack. He can and he will. He will be the highest ranking officer. I guess, screw Klug, I guess. You will be his second in command on the USS Magnificent. The USS Magnificent. Sorry, I shouldn't do the stereotypical gay voice. My apologies. I was definitely suppressing some stuff at the time, so I just thinking about that. Sir, you can't possible. I will hear no more arguing on the matter. According to my sensor logs on my end, the fleet has amassed at Wolf 359. You had better beam aboard, lest you be late. T'Chul out. I cannot say her name. Oh, Puck, you're leaving? Well, Puck, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you had some fun. Hopefully you can finish off watching this later. Right. And before Decker could argue more, she disappeared into thin air, at least what he could see. He knew, of course, that she had just turned off the holographic transmitters on her end. He slammed his fist on the desk. He and Riker were very close. In fact, when Riker was a child, he and the now deceased Captain Riker used to play together. Oh, sweet. Decker's father had died in one of the final attacks on the Borg Collective, now just containing a few remnants of Borg, and so Admiral Riker had been his father figure. And now, though it hurt his heart, he was trying to stop Riker from getting his revenge. So Admiral Riker apparently raised Decker, and I didn't even bring that up at any point earlier. But he knew that something bad would happen if Riker were allowed to lead the attack. He could feel it, but there was nothing that could be done. Look at me foreshadowing the crap out of all of this. I'm sure everything's going to be perfectly fine. He had even spoken to Klug, and Klug had been on the same set as T'Chul. I don't even know how to say my own freaking character names. He stood up and walked the few feet to the transporter room. Hello again, Riker. Yay, we get more Riker. I'm so glad we get more Riker. That makes me very, 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 very happy. Hello, sir. Where will it be today? I know there's a war on. This isn't in the extra strip. I know there's a war on, but I'm just so chipper. I'm just chipper little Ensign Riker. Beam me to the USS Magnificent at Wolf 359. The coordinates should be on your monitor. 1 second. Here they are. Please step on the pad, sir. A transporter and turbolift ride later, Decker was on the bridge of the Magnificent. He sat down in the first officer's chair next to Riker. Are we ready to move out, sir? Asked Decker. Ready as we will ever be. Communications officer, Riker said. Contact the rest of the fleet. See, even like Discovery, I don't know the names of my own communications officer in my first season. Tell them to head into warp by our lead. That's not a knock against Discovery. I'm just making fun. I love Discovery. I'm glad I need to clarify that. Done, sir. Good. Helmsman, jump to warp, heading towards the greatest system on my mark. Coordinates set. Engines ready, said the helmsman. Engage. Ending just like Star Trek Picard Episode 3. All right, well, we might as well. I know I've been going for an hour. Is everyone good if I do the last episode of the pilot, just because I'm having so much fun here? If you want me to just stop and we can just hang out and do some questions, I can do that too. But let me know what you guys think in the chat. Should I keep going, do one more episode, and then we'll hang out for a bit, or should I just stop here and we do some discussion? All right, people are saying more. All right, let's do the one more. Let's finish off this pilot. All right, The Mirror Shattered, Part 3. Part 1, September 11th, 2602, 0900 hours. Sir, we are arriving at the coordinates, said the helmsman. Signal the fleet to drop out of warp as soon as we reach them, said Decker. Message sent, said the lieutenant at the con. Decker was surprised how well this ship and its crew worked. Yes, he had served on many ships, but this one worked like a well-oiled machine. Even the ship was in pristine order, not one speck of dust out of place. Well, impressive ship, the USS Magnificent. I mean, with a name like the Magnificent, you know it's got to be good. Let's see. Though he admired the ship, he knew where it was headed, and he knew that it might not come out again. Unfortunately, ships still need a crew to use them. Many things could be done without the help of people controlling them, but controlling a starship was not one of them. Yes, they could go out on scientific missions by themselves, but they lacked inspiration, and lacked the ability to change their tactics to suit the situation fast enough. Living beings were the only thing capable of doing that. So I guess I'm just saying, screw synths is what I'm saying here. Yeah, synths can all go die. That's what I'm saying with this. Let's see. Dropping out of warp now, sir, said the helmsman. Decker felt the slight lurch as the ship left warp. Even after a century of being able to go past warp 11, they still couldn't figure out how to stop the stress on a ship when it entered warp velocity higher than 12. Finding a way to travel faster than warp 11 without killing all the people in the ship was a feat in and of itself. Federation scientists are still working on how to stop the stress on the hull, but so far, no luck. I love how I'm just giving you your technobabble right in these paragraphs here. Still, Decker counted himself lucky because if Warp 17 could be sustained more than 12 hours, then the Mirror Universe ships wouldn't stop in this star system and arrive at Earth in less than 10 hours. I don't know how that logically works, but sure. They were, after all, near the edge of the Milky Way galaxy. So here's the thing. If the Mirror Universe can pop in and out wherever they want in their own universe, why would they ever appear at the edge of the Milky Way galaxy? Why wouldn't they just appear right over Earth? I don't know. Okay. I'm just breaking my own logic. This is me doing the lore breakdown of my own freaking fan fiction. All right. In fact, only an hour away at Warp 11, the galactic barrier hangs in space. Oh, look at me tying in canon. All right. A warning bell shook Decker from his thoughts. He turned to Riker. Decker's really just an absent-minded guy. He just yeah, there's a war on, but I'm just going to be lost in thought, thinking about how warp works and how pristine the ship is. I'm not really going to be bothered by the fact that we all may die in a second. And what warp speed makes you turn into a lizard? Yeah, they should all technically be lizards at this point, according to Star Trek Voyager. What is it, sir? A ship has just exited warp a little way ahead of us, and what is more surprising is that it's us, or at least our ship. Ooh. You're telling me that the lead ship of their fleet is the same lead ship of our fleet? That is correct, said the science officer, standing a few feet away. I made the science officer a Nobulan, so I gotta do the, Ketwalski, That is correct, said the science officer, standing a few feet away. It is almost exactly the same as our ship, except for a few changes in their warp drive and other minor systems. Said the Denobulan. Sir, we are receiving a message. Put it on, said Admiral Riker. Aye, sir. Static noise sound throughout the bridge. Then, through the static, a voice came. Federation ship. Surrender now and move 100,000 kilometers away from this place, and you will not be harmed. Yet. We have strength equal, if not stronger, than yours. I repeat, Federation ship, surrender now. It's a repeating message, sir. Turn it off, said Riker. Prepare the ship for battle. Ooh, we get more Emperor Palpatine. It's great. Part 2, September 11, 2602, 0830 hours. The Emperor stared out the window of his room on the Enterprise O. He watched as the stars that were so far away that they were to him only tiny dots. But if he was right next to them, he would be but a tiny microscopic piece of dust compared to the stars. Not to mention that he would be burnt to a smoldering crisp. Dark. Got a drink there. Yeah, 100,000 kilometers, not even the distance from Earth to the moon. So it's you get mildly away from it. Let's see. He had been sitting in his room waiting for the acknowledgement that the secondary fleet had engaged the enemy. The secondary fleet's purpose was to be a distraction from the real fleet, while the Federation fought the secondary fleet. A stronger, bigger fleet that was cloaked would attack their real objective. The cloak of the real fleet was so powerful that not even the strongest sensor in the Federation could detect it. All right. I think that's the point of cloaking technology. Unfortunately, this cloaking technology didn't come without a price. For one, they could not fire while cloaked, because that's the rule. You can't fire while cloaked. Also, because that didn't change at all in Star Trek VI. Also, they had to wait for a few minutes after decloaking to be able to fire. The sustaining of the clock required a lot of power from. I'm assuming that meant cloak. The sustaining of the cloak required a lot of power from the ship. In fact, it was using so much power, parts of the ship were empty due to no life support. So these are really huge. Mary Sue cloaking, Wellington Smith. Mary Sue cloaking, I love it. But these were useless areas, such as the crew lounge and the holodecks, which were not needed at this time. Screw 10 forward. Still, because of these drawbacks, they had to decloak a half an hour before reaching the objective. Undoubtedly, they would detect the fleet once they decloaked, but it would be too late. With the better part of the fleet being taken care of by the secondary fleet, only a handful of ships would be able to come to the aid of their own. So I love that this scene just exists, just so that I can give a bunch of exposition from the Emperor's point of view. The Emperor's not really doing anything other than let me think about exposition going on. Just then, the Emperor's comm badge beeped. So apparently the Emperor has a comm badge. I'm just imagining, Palpatine. Looking out his, big round window on the Death Star. And he has, a little Starfleet comm badge. Yes. What is it, crew member? Ensign Reiki, what is it? It's just a visual that I enjoy. What is it? The secondary fleet has made contact with the enemy, Your Eminence, said Captain Riker. Good. Now, before the battle starts, slip by the fleet. It will be done. Riker out. The Emperor laughed as he continued to look out the windows. Mwahahaha! 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 I don't know. I hope I wrote more of the Emperor in here because he's just too much fun. Part 3, September 11th, 2602, 0930 hours. They are firing torpedoes, said the tactical officer. Fire torpedoes full spread at the lead ship, said Admiral Riker. On the view screen, 5 torpedoes headed towards the ship. The ship moved quickly out of the way. Just dodging. But the torpedoes on a guidance system turned around and hit the ship in one of its 4 warp nacelles. Something that I would have thought that torpedoes would have had. Direct hit. Their top warp engines have been disabled. They can only travel at warp 5 or higher. Just then, sparks flew from the tactical console and hit the officer stationed there. He flew backwards and hit his head on the console. This is I know Captain Pikachu is probably not in the comments. If you're there, Captain Pikachu, they need some seatbelts for this for this ship. Let's see. Green blood, for he was a Vulcan, streamed down his face. His nose and jaw looked broken. Bridge to sickbay. Medical emergency on the bridge. He is in critical condition, said Decker. Chief Medical Officer Yukar responded. Excuse me. Chief Medical Officer Yukar responded. On my way, she said. Decker, take tactical, said Riker. Aye, sir. Decker walked over to the tactical console just as Yukar transported onto the bridge. Just teleporting everywhere. Everyone's just teleporting. Let's see. He will be fine. I have wounded from all over the ship. Most of them I can fix in a few seconds and send them on their merry way. Some, though, are going to need major surgery. Just do your best, said Decker. I love how the medical officer's like, yeah, we're in the middle of a battle, but I'll just come up to the bridge. It's fine. She hit her comm badge. Yukar to sickbay, 2 to beam directly to sickbay. Before she left, she turned to Decker. Good luck, and then she was gone. Decker looked over the damaged console. I can fix it, but I need a few seconds. Hurry up, said Riker. So they're screwed. They really have no tactical systems at the moment. Hurry up, said Riker. 1 second. Done. Fire another spread of torpedoes at the lead ship. Aye, sir, firing now. He pushed the button that sent 10 torpedoes hurtling on their way to destroy a ship. toward the enemy that looked so like themselves. Yes, Dax is always watching. She's right there. Tell me if she gets closer. That would actually be kind of terrifying. Just slowly, she just gets closer. That'd actually be a funny joke if I just had someone hiding back there and just slowly walked her forward. Anyways, see if anyone noticed. I'm a horrible person. I'm sorry. All right. Let's see. Part 4, September 11, 2062, 1000 hours. The agent looked around to see if anyone was looking. Then, when he knew that no one was in the hallway, he ran towards the Jeffries tube entrance. He pressed the correct button sequence and stood back as the hatch opened. Then, without making any noise of any kind, he jumped in the tube. He's just super sneaky. He checked to make sure that the item was still in his pocket and crawled through the tubes. The ship shook as another barrage of Spectre fire came. Spectre fire was the equal of this universe's phaser fire. Because I guess I gotta give him a dark name. They gotta use Spectre fire and not phaser fire. I'm sorry. That's. I'm sorry. Spectre fire just broke me a little bit there. Anyways, oh my god, I didn't even finish the sentence. I'm sorry. You gotta hear. Spectre fire was the equal of this universe's phaser fire, but with a better name. He laughed. Once he finished the job, he would finally be back on his ship. This universe had such a knack for badly naming weapons. I'm just on this. I'm like, yeah, I'm so clever. I came up with Spectre fire. I just make an express point of it several times. Objects of such power should be honored, but now was not the time to think of such things. I just love every character is just like randomly thinking about random things. I'm sorry. I know I've been drinking, but I am not buzzed. I'm not feeling it. I'm just quite literally just, I'm just dying. And Spectre fire, I know it's the dumbest thing to be laughing about, but I'm just dying so hard at that. Whew, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, acting. Good. Up ahead, he heard a noise. The damaged system should be nearby. Come on. He knew that voice. It was the chief engineer. I don't know if I can say the next sentence. I know I didn't intend this when I was a kid, but... Okay. He knew that voice. It was the chief engineer. Vaj was his name, the agent believed. And Chief Engineer Vaj. All right. I'm sorry. I will get through. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm just laughing too much here. All right. He took out his phaser and turned the corner. Ah, hello there. What are you doing here? Nothing. Why do you have a phaser? Just to do this. Just to do this. The agent fired and shot the chief and the other engineer behind him. Now, don't get in my way again. He continued on his way and looked for the correct panel. Just like shooting the chief engineer and was like, all right. He shut off the force field around the panel by pressing the buttons next to the panel. All right. I was glad you have a force field that can be turned off right there. Then he placed the item that was in his pocket on the panel. It's not saying anything about what it is. Sorry. Okay, Chief Engineer Vaj. Is that her defining character trait? I just smell tokenism. Yeah, the one woman in this story is just named Vaj. I don't even think I expressed what gender the chief engineer is. Anyways, as quickly as he could, he got out of the tubes. He took a button out of his pocket and pressed it. With that, he destroyed the weapons system on the ship. All right, cool. Vaj. Vaj rhymes with bag. Bag. That's true, yeah. I gave their uniforms pockets. I did. Decker, fire another volley at the attacking USS Indigo. Wait, so it's the USS Indigo you're firing, not the ISS Indigo, so you're firing on your own ship. Anyways, firing now, sir. Decker pressed the button, but at the exact moment, the entire ship shook from an explosion. Everyone except Riker, because Riker apparently has his seatbelts, fell to the floor. Decker stood up and checked his console. Tactical is not responding. Again, sir. How did they hit us that badly? That was not an attack by another ship. We had an internal explosion. How? Decker didn't like to think about what had really happened, but there was only one explanation. Sabotage would be my guess, sir. How do they get an agent on board? I'm glad he just instantly goes to sabotage. Sabotage would be my guess. How do they get an agent on board? Sabotage, like the song from the Beastie Boys, which was in Star Trek 2009. See, I'm making connections. This is all canon references. I don't know, sir. Sir, we're getting a priority 1 message from Starfleet, said the con officer. What does it say? Another fleet has decloaked past our fleet. It's at high warp. Towards Earth? No. Then what is their objective? Asked Riker. Vulcan. Oh my gosh, I forgot that they attacked. There was like a secret, there's like a J.J. Abrams mystery box on Vulcan going on here. Oh my gosh, and that's basically like Star Trek 2009. Wow, I really presaged so much, I'm really just presaged so much of current Star Trek with my own fanfiction, which is hilarious. Okay, I think I should probably stop there. I do want to I wish I could read the next one, because I think the next one gets into like some J.J. Abrams style mystery box stuff, because I think I like set up like they like get to Vulcan and there's like this crazy thing at the Vulcan Science Academy. I'm just gonna read the little blurb here. Our new ship is called into the fray. The new ship and crew get to know each other while preparing for the upcoming battle. As the ship races towards the battle, Admiral Decker tries to hold off the oncoming fleet while Decker deals with a personal crisis. So that's definitely the stuff that's going on there. Yeah, I think like I actually also pulled like a Star Trek Discovery, because I think the first 3 episodes where I talk about Riker and Decker are sort of the main characters going on there. I think the main crew that like I follow for the rest of the series is actually on appears in the 4th episode. So like after the pilots, you get the actual crew of the series, which again was something that Discovery did. So I'm just claiming all of this. All right, I'm going to stop there, because if I read all of my fan fiction now, I won't have any to do this for in the future. So let me know. I think you guys really enjoyed this. I hope you guys did. So we can... So I hope you guys enjoyed that, so that I can maybe just do this more. So if you guys like... I hope you guys... Sorry, my brain's just kind of off because wine. I might as well just finish that off. But if you guys enjoyed this, let me know, because I would actually love to do this in the future and do this more. All right, so it's 6:15 now. I've been going for a little over an hour. WTF is wrong with her. Oh yes, peace out, beautiful. Thank you for joining me. I'm gonna stick around for a little bit longer if you guys want to talk and hang out and just like ask some questions. I'll probably hang out for about like 15-20 minutes. Oh, John Gringas, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And thank you for this thank you for the super chat. That means a lot. I always thank you. I really am appreciative. All right, so I might do another one of these maybe next week. Maybe this is how, Amanda V, this is how we survive COVID. So maybe I'll just do more of these as we get through and try to self-isolate. That'll sort of be the plan. I'll do more of these like these fan fiction readings. I think it's fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. So, you know what? I'll probably schedule one, but I think I might just do more of these. All right. So, let me just quick check one thing. Okay. So let's just do a little chat and hang out for a little bit. I'll hang out for another like 15-20 minutes, and feel free to ask me any questions, anything that's going on. And we'll just talk for a little bit. This is a lot of fun. I can't even laugh at your awful fic. Mine was much worse at that age. I mean, mine's pretty bad, so I'm sure yours is not that bad at all. It's a lot of fun. Trouble is, it's gone past 1 a.m. I should sleep, but I done wanna. Don't worry, I'm gonna be doing more. I just kind of did this at the spur of the moment. I'll try and schedule it a bit earlier next time. I think maybe like a better time for most people, because I know for me this is like it's 6 o'clock my time, but I know it's much later for a lot of people because you guys are all on the East Coast, or some of you in the UK, or even in different places. So I'll try and schedule these at a much better time next week, but I hope it's a lot of fun. I'm glad I waited until my 30s to really work on fanfics. I mean, jokes aside, I'm making fun of fan fiction here, at least my fan fiction. I actually think that fan fiction, it says with everything, fan fiction versus fan fiction can be great, fan fiction can be bad, but it's all just really up to the people who wrote it. I actually wrote, and Dash Fat Bastard, thank you so much. We have to make this an audio play. I mean, I already did. There is a podcast out there. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. And Wellington Smith, your fanfics, I'm sure, don't suck. Or if they do, I'm sure they're enjoyably suck. So I'm sure that they're not bad. But fan fiction, I think, can be wonderful, can be great. I actually did write, I think, good fan fiction. There was Star Trek Enterprise, when it got canceled, they did these virtual seasons. Like, people wrote fan fiction that continued on the story. And I actually wrote 2 episodes for that I actually think were really, really good. I have to go back and read them. I'm sure they're not great, but I'm actually kind of happy with, if I remember correctly, I remember actually being very proud of those. Whereas these fan fictions that I'm writing here was more just to get me going. JTank7, check the stream out because of Jesse stayed for the fan fiction and the laughs. Thanks for a fun night. Good night, all. Thank you so much for joining us. Emily Davis, you asked, have you read the TNG and Voyager mini Mirrorverse comics? I have not read the Voyager one. I know that one just came out. But the TNG one, I've read. They have had 3 or 4 miniseries of the TNG Mirror Universe ones. And if you haven't read the TNG Mirror Universe comics, they're so good. The art is wonderful. I forget the name of the artist who does it. He's in a few Star Trek comics. But he does for the Mirror Universe ones, he does actual oil paintings I think watercolor, not oil painting, watercolor paintings for all of his art. And it's absolutely gorgeous. And they're really good ones. I also love how Picard in the Mirror Universe comics is super jacked in the TNG Mirror Universe comics. It's just, it's kind of hilarious. He has in fact, let me see if I can pull it up here. Star Trek Picard Mirror Universe comics. Because I think it's really hilarious how jacked Picard is. Yeah, look at this right here. Let's see if I can zoom in. Take a look at this image right here. I forgot I have it pulled up. Yeah, you can see Picard is just super jacked. And everyone is super jacked in that. And you got Geordi wearing this cool visor, Barclay, and of course Deanna in her sexy Mirror Universe dress. I think that's kind of funny. But it's a really good, and you also get everyone has a goatee in the Mirror Universe, so that's kind of fun. Yeah. Oh God, sorry. Look at this one, super jacked Picard. Look at that. Whoo. I mean, I'm appreciating that. So yeah, Mirror Picard is going to pump you up. Yeah. So I would very much highly recommend the Star Trek Picard comic series. I think the first one is Mirror Broken, and then they had a few other ones like Terra Incognita and a couple other ones that were all very good. But I think Mirror Broken was my personal favorite. All right. Any other questions? Jesse, have you ever played any Star Trek RPGs? In terms of the video games, I don't think I ever played any RPGs. My favorite one was the Star Trek Elite Force. I played a lot. In terms of role-playing RPGs, I did play Star Trek Adventures. I actually did Star Trek Adventures over on, if you guys know, Lore Reloaded. Lore Reloaded, I actually did a series with him and Ketwalski and Lore Runner, those YouTubers. We did an online RPG role-playing game of Star Trek Adventures, and it was a lot of fun. It does get, I want to say R-rated, but probably X-rated at certain points. My character was a very sexually promiscuous Trill, so it was kind of a bit much on that series. So yeah, if you want to see me play some Star Trek tabletop RPGs, go check out. It's on Lore Reloaded's channel. I think called Star Trek Adventure Lore was the name of the series. And like I said, it does get X-rated at certain points. It starts off fairly serious, but as we keep going throughout the episodes, it just gets more and more depraved because we were just terrible. But it was fun. So yeah, check those out. I think they're fun. But like I said, be prepared for some not safe for work content. With no disrespect intended to either Michael Dorn or Terry Farrell, Worf and Jetsia were terrible together. I have to go, and that was from Brian Weber, I have to go back and rewatch. It's been a while since I watched DS9. I actually really liked, if I'm recalling right, it's been a while since I've seen those episodes, but I actually really liked Worf and Jetsia. But then again, I really kind of liked just Jetsia in general, as it's probably self-evident that she's sort of creeping in the background there. But yes, I do. I actually liked them, but again, I haven't watched it in a while, so it might be a while. Amanda 5. I love Worf and Jetsia too, but for different reasons. I also liked that they were both like Jetsia. I will say, what I loved about the relationship was Worf was always this badass like fighter, and Jadzia was able to just give it right back to him. Like, you so rarely, especially at that time in television, you so rarely got to see, like, a woman being able to, like, be just as, like, badass and not, like, super overdraw attention to it. But this is, but it was just like, oh, she actually got to be a very strong female character. I know that's sort of the like, cliche, but, like, she was actually, like, able to fight, but she's never felt not feminine. Like, she was always, like, Jessie was very much a woman, but she was very much, like, able to, like, stand up and fight. And so I really kind of enjoyed that quite a bit. Emily Davis, yes, you love the comics. I sent some to Link ARA at AEW at 4W, so he might do a review one day. I should do more comics reviews. I'm part of the, if you guys want some a good way to get into the Star Trek graphic novels, the people who make these Star Trek models, I'm blanking on their names. They do like the really nice Star Trek models. I forget their name off the top of my head. But they also do a graphic novel collection. And so if you guys want to get into Star Trek graphic novels, you can either buy one-offs, or what I do is I have a subscription. So every month I get 2 Star Trek comics, graphic novel collections. And it's just a lot of fun. And it kind of gets me, like, up to speed on, like, the entire history of Star Trek comics. And by the end, I'll have all of them. It's really, 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 really good. Eagle Moss is the name of the company. So I would very much recommend that you if you get that, I would say. Gavin Robbins, hey, totally random and not sure if you've ever covered it, but I'm also an Eagle Scout and I love seeing you present your award despite all the wronging of the organization. Yeah, actually, it's right here. So let me see if I can put it on camera really well. Actually, you know what? I think I can actually make, one second before I get anywhere. Let me see something. I think that might make my screen a little bit bigger. So you'll lose my, yeah, okay, cool. So here is actually my Eagle Scout award, because I am a proud Eagle Scout. I kind of had it hidden in some of the background of my videos because I don't know. I'm very proud of the fact that I was an Eagle Scout. It's something that meant a lot to me, and it's I've had a glass of wine, and it's probably not the right place to address it. But there are a lot of problems, especially right now, that the Boy Scouts are going through, and like I said, it's probably something to save for an actual video where I can discuss it better. But I'm a very proud Boy Scout. I actually worked at a Boy Scout summer camp for about 10 years. Every summer for 10 years, I worked at a summer camp and really enjoyed it. Honestly, it was one of the best parts of my life, working at a summer camp, and getting my Eagle Scout is one of my most cherished accomplishments, to be honest. And I also just love the fact that I'm a woman who has an Eagle Scout, and I know women are allowed in Boy Scouts, but for a time, that was somewhat unique. So, and I'm glad that women are allowed to be in Boy Scouts now, because I think it's a great organization regardless of gender. But yeah, and like I said, I'll save it for another day. There's a lot of things I'm frustrated and saddened by and disturbed by within the Boy Scout organization for very obvious reasons, but I'll sort of save that for when I'm, it deserves a much more serious look than this video probably deserves. Than this video probably says. Let's see some more questions. The last thing Seven says to the Borg Queen in AFOD Part 4 was a nod to the AT4W movie, which itself was a nod to John Carpenter's The Thing. Fun fact. Oh, that's actually super cool. Let's see. Anime 2124. Was there a time when there was supposed to be a Star Trek Alien comic and it got canceled, or did I dream that? I don't recall that off the top of my head. Probably. I'm sure that there was. In fact, there have been some really interesting crossovers. Like one I'm actually reading right now is a Star Trek Green Lantern. Star Trek Green Lantern crossover comic that I actually really adored. Star Trek X-Men one as well. There's actually a Star Trek X-Men novel that's a lot of fun, especially considering that Patrick Stewart played Professor X in both of them. But it's a lot of fun. Seal 0626. How about those flowers from Discovery title sequence showing up in Picard? I know someone mentioned that. That was actually super cool. I didn't really even think about like connecting the dots of like, oh, it was the same flowers from the Discovery opening. I thought that was That was super cool, actually, to sort of see that little like subtle crossover there. I don't know if it was the same exact design. I mean, it would make sense. They kind of had it around, but it was just a lot of fun. Jonathan Moore, how is your roommate doing with getting his stuff? I don't want to speak for my roommate. For those of you who don't know, I talked about about a month or so ago, my roommate was doing a GoFundMe for getting his stuff out of storage because he used to live very far away. I don't want to speak for him because this is my channel. I don't want to speak for my roommate necessarily, but because of the coronavirus stuff going on right now, it's kind of been delayed, but he is planning to get his stuff soon, and he was able to raise enough money for it, so that's really great. But like I said, I'll sort of stop it there because it's something for him to talk about, not me. I was a Girl Scout. They asked me not to come back after I said that digging foxholes would be a more useful skill than selling cookies. In my younger self-defense, it was the height of the Cold War. Actually, yes. I mean, to be fair, I love Girl Scout cookies. The peanut butter ones are my personal favorites. But yeah, I think digging foxholes would be a much more useful skill than selling cookies. I think that I totally agree with that. Let's see. Any more questions? I'm just trying to look for that. Sorry, apologies. I just got distracted by something else. I can never watch the Alien movies or any movie that involved a creature crawling in and out of you. The gold from Stargate freaked me out. Oh, Stargate. I loved Stargate. I didn't really think about them kind of being a presage from being Alien, but sort of being a precursor, but that actually makes total sense. Actually, something that I've always wanted to do, I had an idea of if I was ever to pitch an Orville episode. It wouldn't be a Star Trek episode, but it would be an Orville episode. If I was to ever pitch an episode of the Orville, it would be like an Alien crossover where it's like a holodeck episode, and they're just like having fun on the holodeck, and they're like doing like an alien type of situation. And it's just like the like kindest, caringest people in the most like, and like the holodeck screws up, so it's like the most messed up, like darkest alien thing ever, like blood and guts everywhere, and everyone's just like, oh my gosh, it's insane. I think that would be a lot of fun if I was to pitch an Orville episode. You know how the Picard team have mentioned having to kill some of their darlings? I really hope the prominent Borg from the trailers and Picard's panic attack wasn't one of them. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, the biggest problem I have with Star Trek Picard, and this is for a whole other video, I'll probably be doing it in my year-end review. I really love Star Trek Picard quite a bit. I think Discovery speaks to me a little bit more, just in terms of its premise and how it goes about things. But I really love Star Trek Picard. But I think the biggest problem I have is just so many things just don't feel like they are fully fleshed out. I think every decision on Star Trek Picard, for the most part, I love, and I think it's beautiful. But then I feel like they just don't fully let things complete, or like they have a great setup and completion, but they don't necessarily connect us all the dots to get there. And so I always feel like, there's just a lot left out in the story. And so I think that's probably my biggest problem with it overall. And I think a lot of it probably has to come from not necessarily bad writing, but the fact that they had to like kill a lot of their darlings to try and fix it into the like 45-minute, 50-minute time frame, which is kind of upsetting. Jesse, how do you feel about the Q rumors on Picard? I'm actually very excited. I love John Delancey. I'm a huge Q fan. So if they did it right, my presumption is if they did a Q cameo, that he would probably appear as like the final scene of the season, is like the cliffhanger, like rescues Picard at the last second, snaps him out. So that would probably be my guess on that. Yeah, Stargate Atlantis has not aged well. This is from Brian Weber. Looking back, I think I only liked it as much as I did because of the Shepard-McKay dynamic. To be fair, I've actually been going back and rewatching some of Stargate Atlantis. Some of it didn't age very well. Again, also especially in its treatment of women, though it did have some good women here and there. But Talia, I think is her name. She was actually fairly decent. But yeah, I didn't particularly love a lot of the treatment of women in the Stargate franchise, but I really, really love Stargate Atlantis. And McKay, I think, is probably one of my favorite characters in science fiction ever. I adore Rodney McKay. He was absolutely, absolutely wonderful. And yeah, they did kind of do Michael badly in Stargate Atlantis. That was very upsetting. Let's see. Hi, Jesse and chat people. I love Discovery Picard, but I feel they have too many concurrent stories. From Nathaniel Robinson. Welcome, by the way, Nathaniel Robinson. I agree. I love Discovery and I love Picard. I think they're great. I obviously clearly do. I talk about them a lot. I do think they try to tackle a little bit more than they can actually get to, which I think it's great that they're ambitious, and hopefully that sort of gets better. And I've talked about this before. The first seasons of any Star Trek show are really difficult. I mean, every single Star Trek show is really, really hard to write if you really think about it, because one of the joys of Star Trek is that it's so flexible. You really can write any story that you want in Star Trek. You could write something fun. You could write something dark and serious. You could write like a mystery. You could write a detective story. You could write a thriller. You could really literally do anything with the concept, and that's kind of baked into the cake of it. But it's also kind of very rigid in terms of the universe and how people expect a Star Trek show to be. And so it's just like this weird balance of like figuring out what you want to do and what you want to say with the show, and then also like making sure you're honoring what came before. And I think both Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard do so really well, especially for like being a first season. But you can definitely tell the first few seasons of Discovery and the first season of Picard are not perfect. They are far from perfect. And I think that's okay. I think talking about where art fails is also what makes it interesting. I hate like the toxic fans being like, screw it. It's awful. They're being like horrible and they're ruining everything. And it's just such like hyperbole, and it's just so annoying, honestly, to just like when there's actual legitimate criticisms you can have of the show. And I think having those discussions are super fascinating. Like on Twitter the other day, I had a wonderful conversation with several people on Twitter, mainly from the Women at Warp podcast, if you know the Women at Warp podcast. It's a fantastic Star Trek podcast, which you should totally listen to. They talk about like the feminist themes of Star Trek and where it fails and where it succeeds. But I had a wonderful conversation about the women and how the women are treated on Star Trek Picard, specifically with their sexuality, and how a lot of the women on Star Trek Picard's sexuality has not been treated super well. And while that is disappointed, I would like Star Trek to do better with its women's sexuality. I think having that discussion and like the fact that Star Trek Picard sort of instigated this discussion about the sexuality of women and how it's portrayed on screen, and how even though we have a diversity of women on the show, there's still some problems that you can sort of see a through line through. And I think that discussion is super fascinating. And I think that actually having a critical and constructive conversation about a show is wonderful, regardless of whether you like the show or hate the show. I think what art does so beautifully, good art, is it enables conversations even when it's imperfect. The worst thing you can say about a movie is literally like, okay, that was cool, that existed. Like, the fact that even where Star Trek Picard fails, it enables me to have these really rich and thoughtful discussions, means that it's an ambitious and thoughtful show. And I think that that's really worthwhile, regardless of how perfect or imperfect it is. And that's even said, I think Star Trek Picard is really, really great, especially for the first season of a Star Trek show. It's not perfect, but I love it, and I think it's absolutely got some really, really cool ideas going on in it. Could be better, but I'll talk about that in another video later on. But I think it's just so silly to just dismiss a show and just do like surface level critiques of it. Like I saw someone on Twitter the other day was like posting about like, look, they stole from Star Trek, or Star Trek Picard stole from Star Wars, because they had a line where characters like Soji and Narek said, I love you, and Soji said, I know. And they're like, oh, they stole from Star Wars. I'm like, that's the most surface level reading of that scene. The most absolutely asinine criticism you could come up with that is just there to stoke up your fan base that already hates the show. And it's like, if you actually wanted to have a critical, constructive discussion on the show, I would welcome that, even if you hate the show. It's what I've always said. If you hate Star Trek Picard, that's fine. Just have a critical discussion and think hard about why you dislike it, because I think that discussion is needed. It's needed to discuss it. Anyways, I'm going on a rant here. Apologies for all that, guys. I hope you found that interesting. I'm probably going to wrap up here in just a second. So is there any other questions that you guys have for me before I wrap out the discussion? Because I have to go make my dinner and do some more self-isolating. Have some fun. Yeah, some people get offended at the very idea there's anything below the surface level of any work or fiction. I agree. I mean, like, for example, even like, I shouldn't even, that's a whole tangent that I go into, but like Batman v Superman is actually a movie I really love because it's so terrible, but so like fascinatingly terrible. But anyways, I won't get into it, but I can talk endlessly about Batman v Superman. Your top 5 sci-fi shows. Ooh, that's a video in of itself. I mean, I definitely if I had to pick 2 right off the top of my head that instantly came to my mind, it would probably be Battlestar Galactica and The Expanse are two of my favorite science fiction shows of all time. Absolutely adore them. Futurama would probably be in that conversation. I don't know if it would make the list, but Futurama would definitely be up there. But I'd have to think about it more to actually like sit down and write out the list of favorite sci-fi shows. But so yeah, I think that's those are two of my definite favorites that I had to think of right off the top of my head. Pineapple on pizza. I don't hate pineapple on pizza, but I would not prefer it. If it's there, it's the only thing that's available. Sure, I'll go for pineapple on pizza. I won't be like, I don't want it, because any pizza is good pizza. But I would take pineapple on pizza if it was there. It would just never be my first choice. All right. Agree or disagree? Crewman Cutler was totally flirting with T'Pol in Strange New World. I have to go back and rewatch that episode before I could talk about that. I'm sure. I mean, knowing Star Trek Enterprise, I'm sure everyone was hitting on T'Pol. That's just the MO of that show. I love Enterprise. It's one of my favorite Star Trek shows. I have such an undying love for Star Trek Enterprise, and especially T'Pol. I think she's a great character. But, yeah, if you think someone's flirting with T'Pol, they're probably flirting with T'Pol. I actually watched the other day Shuttlepod 1 from Enterprise. It was Star Trek Enterprise. I remember watching Shuttlepod 1, and there's a scene where like Reed is hitting on T'Pol in his dreams, calling her like stinky. You're stinky. You're a stinky Vulcan. It's supposed to be like this like funny, cute scene of him hitting on her, and I'm just like, oh god, it's so cringeworthy. Oh, and it's such a good episode too. Shuttlepod 1's a great episode, and that scene just. Oh, it's so painful to watch. Kat K, not a question, just glad to see you in such good spirits after the couple weeks you've had. Thank you so much. It's been, I mean, the whole world is feeling kind of hard right now. I know all of us are kind of having a really rough go of it, but yeah, it's been a rough few weeks. But there has been some positives. The surgery has gone well, and I haven't really talked about my surgery too much yet. My aim is next Friday, I'm going to have a video go up that's going to be me talking about why I wanted to have surgery and then me discussing my feelings after surgery. So if you're really curious about my surgery stuff, that's going to be coming up. But it's honestly, just to give you sort of a talk about it now, it's been nothing but positive. I mean, healing has been rough. I mean, I'm not going to show you guys, but I have a drain. I just got one of them out, but I've had 2 drains in me, like draining fluid and like blood from me. I won't put it on camera because it's a bit kind of gross and I don't want to freak anyone out. But it's just been kind of rough healing. But in terms of like how I feel about everything, I'm very, very pleased and very happy with how the surgery went. So there'll be a video about that, and I'll probably do another live stream next week. Maybe I'll read some more fan fiction, but after that I'll probably talk also about the surgery then. So that'll be a lot of fun. And thank you, Kate K. Thanks, and Amanda as well, agreeing with Kat. Jesse's such a ray of sunshine. She makes me happy. You guys make me happy. You guys are all wonderful people. I like I said before, and I've said in many ways, thank you for joining me for this live stream. It was a lot of fun. But one of the things I'm most proud of and very happy with is that, that the community on this channel is filled with such wonderful people and such kind people. And that's honestly something I'm honored by and proud of. The fact that there's such beautiful, beautiful people here on this channel, and thank you all for all of that. And honestly, I think that's probably a good place to wrap up the live stream here. The only thing that I will say before I go, if I may hawk my wares just a little bit, a video that I just did that came out today on Half-Life 2. I released a video today about Half-Life 2, and it's honestly something I'm really, really proud of. I actually filmed some of it in New Mexico, put a lot of work and research into it, and unfortunately, it didn't really do very well. Kind of died on delivery there. So if you get a chance to just hop over to that video after this live stream ends, and just, even if you don't watch it, just give it a like to maybe trying to boost up the algorithm, like a like and a comment, just saying like, and then comment and say like, hey, blah, da, 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 random words about it. It would actually really mean a lot to me to maybe boosting the algorithm. That's all I ask, if it's just a small thing, just because like I said, I've asked that before in some ways, but this video I was really, 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 really proud of. I thought I did a really good job on it. And you know what? I'm glad, how well it does isn't as meaningful to me, but it's nice to see things you're proud of do well. But I'm just proud that I made it. So there is that. But if you can do that, I would be very appreciative. Anyways, that's all there is to it. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you guys really enjoyed this this video and listened to my fan fiction. And since you guys all enjoyed it, I'll probably be doing it again in the near future as we all self-isolate. It'll be a good way to distract from the time. But regardless of whether you join me on the next one or you watch my videos, I'm just, as always, glad that you stopped by. And I love all of you, and I hope all of you are staying safe. And I will wish you all that you live long and prosper. Now I need to figure out how to, since I'm using OBS, now I need to figure out how to turn off the stream. All right. I think I did it. All right. Goodbye, all. You are wonderful.